Welcome back, everybody. Welcome to that Flavor in Your Ear podcast, man. We're back again, new episode with Javon Gopi.
Yes, sir.
Sack Sensei. I'm really excited for this episode. We've had a lot of different skill trainers, but we haven't had a NFL skill set guy, yet. So I'm very intrigued to learn a lot about the business, how this works,
Right.
how you teach,
Right.
all these things. Well, welcome to the show, man.
Hey, man, Daniel, I appreciate you for having me, man.
No problem, man. I'm excited. You're part of the home team with Nick Benito, a former guest of ours. I've known him since he was a kid, so anybody that's on his team is on my team.
Yeah, I love it. I love it, man.
So how we start this thing is always based off your story, right?
Okay.
How did the love of football come about? How did you start playing the game? Was it a family thing you passed down from your father? You just picked it up?
So it's funny you asked that, and you kind of made a point about basketball earlier, right?
Okay.
So basketball is my first love.
Okay.
To this day.
Wow.
I watch basketball any day before I turn on a football game.
Okay.
Football is just what I was great at.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying? But
Makes sense.
My family, my brother 6'5", cousin 6'6", 6'8".
Big family.
I was the only one that didn't get the hype. So I tried out for the team every year. In high school, I finally made the team. I was a guy out there setting picks, rebounding. I knew my role.
The enforcer.
Of course, man. But basketball was always my first love, man. But,
Okay.
like I said, fortunately for me, football just happened to be something I was good at. I was passionate about it. Growing up.
It's good for conditioning.
No, 100%, definitely. And I sprinkled in a lot of different things. I wrestled in high school.
Oh, wow. Okay. I don't want to see you in the wrestling.
Yeah, nah.
I don't want to wrestle you.
I liked it. I didn't love it.
Okay.
I liked it, but I did not love it, man. The training was rigorous. It was a lot of long hours. So I wrestled, ran track, basketball, football. I actually sang as well. I was in chorus for about 5 years.
You know what? Did the wrestling affect, I know you got to maintain weight, a certain weight. Did that affect football in any way? Because you got to.
Well, I was a heavyweight. So for
it
me,
didn't matter. You were already at the top.
It was like 250 and above.
Okay. So you wasn't worried about that. Yeah.
No,
okay.
No weight.
I've seen some crazy stuff like people making weight right before the matches.
Oh, yeah.
Throwing up.
Yeah, those guys at 103 and 112. Yeah, no, they definitely got to stay. Right
within that point, yeah.
Yeah.
They don't eat the whole day or
Yep.
to not gain a pound. That's all
garbage
crazy.
bag on, sweating before the match.
I've seen all that stuff. I had a cousin that wrestled at Miami High, and his name was Randy, and man, he all these crazy things just to meet the match.
Gotcha. No, I believe it.
So chorus?
Yeah, man.
Hey, I didn't see that one coming.
Hey, it's funny you say that. For all my choir family, from back in the days in Everglades High School.
Okay.
I'm giving y'all a shout out, man. I wouldn't.
Were you in the church too?
Yeah, I sang in church. Grew up in the church singing. Took it to high school. But I'm gonna be honest with you.
Go ahead.
Only reason I liked chorus.
Okay.
My first day in chorus, I was in a band, ninth grade, and we were practicing before a Christmas concert, and I was just in the background singing. And my band director was like, "You sound very well. Let me take you to go meet the chorus director, right?"
Yeah.
So I walk in there. We walk through the back door, and I was sold the minute I walked in there because I see how many girls in there. So that's what sold me, man.
I don't blame you.
Ever since then, I found a passion. Music is always something I love. I love all types of music.
Yeah.
So I was very passionate about it. I sang for a while. I'm interested in getting back into it now as an adult. You see what I'm saying? But no, that was a huge part of my life, man. So like I said, for all the people who was a part of my choir family, man, shout out to you guys. I wouldn't be who I am today.
Man, so you were a busy guy when you were young,
definitely.
How'd you maintain the focus on football? All that stuff going on.
I think football, like I said, it was just something I was great at.
Yeah, it was natural.
I was definitely a hard worker, and I was always proactive. I always put in the extra work. So it wasn't at the time. It wasn't hard. It wasn't a hard balance. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Because it came natural.
Okay.
100%. Yep.
So talk to me a little bit about your young career. Like, how did you? Now this is, I think I've had this conversation with several people. How did you define your position that you played? Was it just because of your girth and size, and they just naturally put you there, or was there something that gravitated you to your position?
So let me start off on the record by saying this. I'm a very humble guy.
Okay.
I rarely ever talk about my experiences in college or high school.
Okay.
Because it's over. You see what I'm saying? I don't care to to boast, but for the respect of the show, man, I was that dude. I was coming out of high school. I was first team in the state, first team in the county. I was one of the best defensive tackles.
Okay.
And I think it was just something in me. Just I love to dominate people.
Yeah.
Whoever's in front of me, like I found joy in whooping ass of the guy in front of me.
So from the minute you played the position, you just loved it. Yeah.
From day one, man.
From day one.
So also growing up with a disability, me being visually impaired.
Right.
I was angry from like 10 years old up on. Not until I got about maybe into my 20s, I was able to, reflect and understand how to channel it. But I was just always angry, man, because stuff was always hard. So I kind of channeled that and put it into sports and football for sure. And yeah, man, like I said, I just love to dominate the guy in front of me. And you know, anybody who played with me or you know played in around the time that I played, they'll tell you it was coincidentally Aaron Donald.
Okay.
One of my favorite. He's probably the greatest to ever do it.
Okay.
And we came out the same class, same age.
I still
same
think it's
position.
LT.
Yeah, same position. You know, so I guess I would say I'm the Aaron Donald who didn't make it. You see what I'm saying? Because I, you know, he plays football the right way. You know, he plays with attitude, with tenacity. He's smart. You know, he puts in the work, watches film. So yeah, man, for me growing up, you know, I was really good at what I did. You know, and that is what it was. And like I said, I really channeled, you know, just a lot of the anger and things that I had growing up.
Yeah.
And I put that toward, you know, put it on the field.
Yeah.
And,
Constructive.
You know, 100%.
Right.
100%.
So did you play here in Florida?
Yeah. So I grew up here in South Florida.
Okay.
I went to Everglades High School.
Okay.
Graduated 2009. From there, I bounced around a couple of different colleges. And the reason why is because, like I told you, I was one of the best guys in the state coming out my last year in high school.
Right.
But unfortunately, I'm only 5'10", 5'11". And, you know, nowadays, like I said, Aaron Donald's opened the door for the shorter guys to come in and really, you know, dominate.
I didn't even realize he's under 6 feet.
Bro, yes. He's
I didn't know that.
5'11", 6 foot on the head.
Wow,
on the paper, it'll tell you maybe 6'1". We the same height.
Okay.
The same height.
Wow.
So, yeah, he kind of opened the door for, you know, some of the shorter guys. And it's crazy because football is about leverage. So it's crazy to hear, you know, a lot of the college coaches, they have a standard in, you know, height and size and weight. But if football is about leverage, why can't the guy who has the most leverage be successful? You see what I'm saying? So I bounced around a little bit trying to chase a dream. You know, I felt like, you know, when I played junior college, I played literally every level of football, from Division I to junior college.
Okay.
And, you know, I just felt like I was better than the competition. I felt like I deserved more, you know, based off of the work that I put in.
Right.
And in retrospect, I probably should just stayed at one school and just dominated, you know, but, you know, it's life. I didn't have any guidance, didn't have a dad around to, you know, kind of put that in my ear. So I bounced around a little bit, but the good thing about it is I had the opportunity to play under a lot of different people. And that's where the learning curve really took its place, because
everybody teaches different.
100%, man. So I was able to see a lot of good, a lot of bad, and you know, make my own decision on what I liked and what worked.
Right.
And you know, here we are today.
And I think that's a good point to bring up too. Now you work with a lot of guys at Alabama, Miami, and all these big schools. Now that the transfer portal is such a crazy thing, and reflecting on what you just said, based on, you know, not you wanted to stay, you know, you were going back and you thought you should have stayed at one school.
Right.
How do you feel when these guys come and tell you, hey, you know, I'm thinking about transferring from Alabama or from Miami or from somewhere, and are you using your own experience to give to guidance there?
100%. Like, so the times are a little different now, but the same things apply.
Right.
In respect to, you want to be in a program that fits you.
Right.
You know, the scheme of defense. You know, if you're a stand-up backer, you don't want to go somewhere where you're putting your hand in the dirt. You know what I'm saying? So you definitely want to find a place where the scheme fits you. I think the portal does give players more leverage, which is good if they use it in the right way. You know what I'm saying? Because now a lot of kids will go from school to school to school.
Yeah.
And, you know, with the portal, they kind of regulated a little bit. I think if you transfer the first time, you can play. And after that, you got to sit out.
After that, you got to sit out.
Know,
you get that one freebie.
100%. So that was good, you know, that they were able to regulate it like that.
Yeah.
But it gives them leverage, which they deserve.
Right. I agree.
If I'm a starting quarterback at Alabama, think about this. Mac Jones, Tua, and Jalen Hurts all were on Alabama at the same time. You know what I'm saying? All three of those guys are starting quarterbacks in the NFL. So respectively, they could have played at different schools.
Yeah.
You know, and they chose to stay, which worked out for them. But, you know, for everybody, you know, it does give them leverage, and I do appreciate that, as long as they don't abuse it.
Of course.
That's the biggest thing, man.
Now, are you approaching college differently than you approach these guys at the NFL? Because this is pure novice opinion, right? Because I'm not. Are there more schemes in college? Like, there's more schematically things different? Because I feel like football is like more one style.
Right.
Is that a fact?
It's interesting that you say that, because it is.
Okay.
And actually, college is really on another level. Like, it's much harder to get sacks in college than it is in the NFL.
Wow.
Actually, and it's because there's so many different offenses in college. In the NFL, you have a few traditional teams. Number one, it's only 32 teams.
Right.
So out of the 32, you may find 5 or 6 different schemes.
Right.
But everybody, for the most part, runs a lot of the same stuff.
Okay.
But yeah, it's much harder, I would say, in my opinion, to get sacks in college. And that's why, you know, you'll see guys like T.J. Watt. Now, they do play more games.
Right.
But you'll see guys like T.J. Watt, 22 sacks on the season last year. Nick Bosa, I think he's at like 18 this year. In college, I think Terrell Suggs he's the all-time leader. I think he might have had 16 or 17. So it is much harder.
Okay.
Just because that ball is coming out so much faster.
You prefer the college game or the football game? Like just to watch, pure enjoyment.
Watch?
Yeah, pure enjoyment.
I find enjoyment in all of them.
Okay.
Because a lot of people say in the NFL they're not as hungry, but it depends.
Which they would say the same thing in the NBA.
100%. But
Yeah.
you know what's funny though, and I don't know if you ever pay attention to the NFL draft, right?
Okay.
Dudes aren't walking and shaking Roger Goodell's hand and crying anymore. And it's because of NIL deals. You see what I'm saying? Like these kids.
I see what you're saying.
They're not as broke as they used to be.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? We was eating ramen noodles.
Mm-hmm.
We put scarfling change to go to what was it? We used to go to this gas station out of North Carolina and get 3 hot dogs for $1.
Wow.
That's what we had to do to get by. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But now these dudes come to the draft with VVS's on. So
yeah.
They're in respect to college, I would say they may be not as hungry as they used to be.
Okay.
The game of football has changed in respect to that. Social media plays a part into it.
Of course.
I think a lot of kids love what football can do for you because
Agreed.
they're able to see the success and the fruits, but they're not as many are willing to put in the work
Or love the game as much
100%,
as
they love what it can do for
because
you.
it's a sacrifice.
100%.
Now when you become a pro, everything has to be different.
Yeah.
The way you approach
it's a
life
business
is
for sure.
different. Yeah, it's a business
for sure.
So
man, definitely.
you got to take care of your body. You have to rest. Yeah, so many things that you probably weren't doing when you weren't at that level. So, if we get so now that we're going through your whole training process, let's talk a little bit about your mentor. I did look that up. The certification class was through him.
Right.
I know. So he has a class that he certifies.
Right.
And then you basically pass on the skill set.
Correct. So he has shout out, man. First and foremost, like you said, my mentor Chuck Smith. I've been working with Chuck, man, for over maybe about 5 years now, and he's been a blessing in my life, man, because he's really, yes, I was certified through him, but I would say more than anything, he taught me a lot on the business side,
Right.
How to make the money,
And that's important.
100%, man. That was the biggest thing. Me playing the position, having success early in my career. I knew a lot of the as far as the progressions and how to teach.
Yeah.
Because I'm a natural teacher. But like I said, on the business side, he really showed me a lot, man, and that's something I'm forever gracious for. But shout out to Chuck, man. That's the OG. He's really the innovator of pass rush. Honestly, he's worked with anybody you can think of: Aaron Donald, Von Miller, Max Crosby.
His guy right here.
Anybody you can think of, man. I'm pretty sure Chuck has touched.
Yeah.
And that's my goal, man.
I think Kayvon.
Yeah. Kayvon Thibodeau, man. Like I said, anybody you can think of who's had success, more than likely they've been through Chuck, man. So, he like I said, he's really one of the innovators and pioneers of changing the art of pass rush.
Right.
He worked with O.C. Umenyiora back in the days, played for the Giants.
Yep.
Shout out O.C. That's one of my good guys as well. And they really took that cross chop to the next level.
Right.
So cross chop is the most modern pass rush move that everybody wants to do now.
Okay.
Aaron Donald really put it on the scene, let's say the last 5 years. He was great at it. But O.C. was really one of the originators who pulled that cross chop out. And even back in the day, John Randall, Warren Sapp, they did it. But like I said, Chuck and O.C., they really innovated the move, which actually took it to another level, man.
Yeah.
So, man, he's the GOAT. He's the greatest. He's the greatest.
How much are you? I talked about this with Andrew, one of the NBA skills trainers we had.
Uh-huh.
Are you watching your clients play pro, college? Are you and jotting down some notes, or are you breaking down film,
always,
chopping it up?
Always, man. It depends, but I prefer to watch the game and take notes then, so I don't have to go back and rewatch the film. You see what I'm saying? But nah, definitely, man. I'm usually texting my guys halftime. I'm a stifler, man. So they can get a sack, but I'm like, bro, you could have done this better. You see what I'm saying, to make that more effective. So it's a part of the culture. Like I said, I know I can be very anal. All my guys know that I'm Mr. One more rep.
Yeah.
We're gonna do one more rep every time. And I'm definitely, every time I'm watching, I'm always looking to how can we be more effective? You see what I'm saying? How can we be more efficient in our movement? How can we be more efficient in our moves? Because to be successful as a pass rusher, you got to have great fluid movement. You got to be able to plant, bend, change direction. And then essentially what separates guys in the NFL on all levels, you got to have moves, man.
Yeah.
Guys who only bull rush, the strong muscle guys, they don't get too many sacks. But
Yeah.
the guys who got an arsenal, a bag of moves,
Yeah.
they're the ones who get the sacks. That's where the money is, man. So if you want to get paid in the NFL, you got to get sacks. So
When we had Nick on here, he was saying like his first training in the first couple of days in training camp, he was doing pretty good. He said he got one of the linemen with a move and got right by him and got to the quarterback.
Right.
And then he said when he realized how fast the NFL is, tried the same move again. He realized quickly.
100%.
They pick up on you quick.
100%.
Like it did. He was like, it didn't work.
Yeah.
I couldn't get there no more.
Yeah.
Same move don't work.
And we talked about that going into the season. I said, look, Nick, you're a great rusher, bro. You have a great like it's tough for me to compare him to Von Miller because Von is one of the greatest to ever do it.
Yeah, of course.
But when it comes to bend, get off, lean, body control, Nick is up there with some of the greatest, man. And it's just gonna take some time for him, for other people to realize who he is and what arsenal he has. But man, he's one of one.
I mean, when given the opportunity this season, he's played pretty well.
No, he has.
As far as doing what he specializes in, right?
100%.
He's done well at that. There's other areas of improvement, but he's young, a rookie.
And that's what we talked about. Like I said, bro, I told him you have a great speed rush off the edge. Not many people can block him. But like we talked about, that's one thing about NFL. It's all about adjustments, man. And literally the next play, that's what we worked on this offseason is working on those counters.
Yeah.
Because, you're going to beat them naturally off your first rep. You're a rookie. They haven't seen much film on you. So you're going to win early. But you got to work on those counters because they're going to adjust. They're going to adjust.
So your Saturdays and Sundays, man, you got to have TVs everywhere.
Man, I got maybe 3 or 4 different screens up, my phone rolling. So yeah, man, I definitely enjoy that time. I don't want no kids. Don't come talk to me. My fiance, we can talk. We can chop it up.
This business right here.
But yeah, I got it. I definitely like to be intentional and use that time for that.
For the average male out there that enjoys football and watches it, they're watching it for enjoyment. But you following up on your clients and you're working. It's hard to. Do you feel like it's hard to enjoy it though because you have to be like so tentative to every single person and like focus, like lock in on the game? Is it harder to enjoy the game that way?
I think it depends. But like if it's a big game, and then again, football compared to basketball, it's 10 seconds of full speed, then it's a break, then it's a timeout, and so there is a lot of break periods, so it doesn't get too crazy. But depending on who's playing, like now, the thing is, if I got multiple guys playing at the same time, that's where it gets a little tough. You see what I'm saying? But like I said, I do have multiple screens up. I'm taking notes, and we going from there, man. So yeah, it definitely gets exciting. It gets exciting for sure.
And now you also work with high school kids too,
right?
I'm sure a lot of the top guys in the area too, as much as the college and the NFL.
Right.
Is that also a different approach because of the high school game?
High school.
I figured the high school. Nick always said the high school was pretty easy, like as far as the way it just operates and runs.
It's high school. So for me, teaching and working with high school kids, I really do enjoy it. Some people don't. Some people don't want nothing to do with the high school kids. They rather wait for the college and NFL guys.
Yeah.
But I enjoy it because it's really building that foundation.
I agree, man.
And then, like you said, for the guys who are dominant, it is easy.
Yeah.
In respect to even thinking to myself, like it really was easy.
Yeah.
Like I cannot tell you in high school how many times I've lost a rep. And so even speaking back to practice, if we're doing one-on-ones, right? Me versus offensive lineman, I got to make a move, get to the quarterback. If it got close, run it back. Let's do it again. You see what I'm saying? Because that was always my philosophy, man. To dominate is to be consistent.
Right.
So my goal was to whoop ass every single play, and if it got close, if that play took too long, we got to do it again because I got to prove to you can't block me.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So it can be easy for the kids who are dominant and put in the work because what it boils down to, it's about reps. You got to put the reps in, man. So the kids who are consistent, the guys who are dominant, it is fun and it is easy, man. It is. And
are you already like so? How are in basketball? I always feel like when you're dealing with these kids, style is very important when choosing the college level, right? Like the fit, more importantly than the school or the destination.
Right.
How much is that going into this aspect? In pass rushing.
Yeah, no, it definitely it's huge, man. And I ask all my high school kids to really take their time and do their due diligence on where they want to go to school.
Do the homework.
It's not about just going to the biggest program, because definitely, first and foremost, when it comes to college coaches, there's no such thing as job security. So you can be here today, you out of there tomorrow. So I tell guys, you want to pick a program somewhere that you can see yourself living first and foremost for the next 4 years.
Yeah.
Educationally, that they have the backing and have the programs that you want to major and minor in. That's very important as well. And then lastly, which is the football aspect, is just understanding, what scheme, because you don't want to be like a lot of guys struggle with this. So when it comes to pass rush, everybody wants to be one-on-one. They want to be one-on-one and they want to have opportunity to rush the quarterback. But if you go to certain schemes like Alabama and Georgia, those schemes are not fit for the interior guys to make a lot of plays. Because a lot of times they're head up, they're not in the shade, they're not one-on-one, they're getting double team, triple team.
Right.
So, I definitely, pride myself on teaching my guys, take the time, do your due diligence, go do your homework, understand, does this scheme fit you? Who are you as a pass rusher? You may not be who you think you are. You see what I'm saying?
That's
so
true.
that's my job to, to be honest with you and transparent and let you know, hey, you might be a 3-4 guy where you taking double teams, and those guys get paid millions too. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's really just understanding your skill set, how that can fit, on the next level, and really just putting yourself in a position to be successful.
And now, as far as even the pro, whether it's the pro guys that you work with, college guys, or even the high school guys, is there any criteria that these guys must fit in order to work with you? Or certain things that you just like, hey, effort and this it's not something I want to deal with. You have to come here and bring that, or the energy is gone.
No, 100%, man. I definitely don't work with everybody.
Okay.
And it's an inside joke, but first and foremost, you got to be able to afford me because I'm not cheap. I tell people that all the time.
I let them know.
Because,
it's a business.
You get what you pay for.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So that's one thing I learned in this business as well. I'm not cheap. And, let's just talk about just the marketing aspect. When you go to the Publix and you look at maybe one dish soap compared to another soap, automatically the dish soap that costs more, you're gonna assume is a better product. You see what I'm saying?
Agreed.
So, I pride myself on doing great work, being punctual what I do, being a student of the game. Even, I've been in this industry for over 10 years and I'm still a student of the game, and I'm still trying to learn. I'm still trying to continue to advance this game of pass rush. So, but yeah, to go back to that, no, I don't want to work with everybody because I want to work with the guys who are going to be consistent first and foremost.
Right.
Because in this industry, it's about production.
Right.
So I can work with 100 guys, but if those guys don't produce,
agreed. Yeah.
it means absolutely nothing, man.
That's
You see what I'm
valid,
saying? So I definitely want to work with guys who are consistent, who want to put in the work,
Yeah.
who are humble, who are students of the game, and they want to learn, man, because that's what it boils down to. Like I said, I have no success. The money is cool. You see what I'm saying? I've been in this industry. I've made good money, but it's about the production, man. Like I said, I'm a natural teacher, and it brings me a lot of joy, man, to see a kid. So I got a guy at USF right now named Jason Vaughn.
Okay.
And I want to say he's maybe in his junior or senior year. He still got another year.
Okay.
But he sent me a text message a couple weeks ago, and he's like, man, Coach, I really appreciate you for everything, man, because throughout my first 3 years at USF, I had 2 sacks, and I have 6 sacks this season.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So just that production and knowing that I can take a guy from, literally nothing and building him up to be a prominent pass rusher, like that's where I get my joy.
And giving him the confidence to do it.
And that's what the majority of the job is, building confidence in these guys. You see what I'm saying?
I was about to say it because a lot of these guys, when they get to a place, they can lose confidence. If they're not, they're used to being dominant from wherever they came from, 100%. And then they get there, they're not. They're constantly being right on, and it's tough to maintain confidence. So
and the confidence is built off reps.
Yeah.
The more and more reps you get, the more success you see. You know what I'm saying? Behind closed doors.
Yeah.
That builds that confidence when come to game day, man. So you hit that on the head.
And those are the things that I love about this, man. Getting those kind of texts.
It means everything to me.
Because again, not only does it show that what you're doing is working, right, and productive, but you're giving the most valuable asset you have, your time.
100%.
And you want to know that that's being, that for me is every time I get one of those texts from a kid that I've worked with or something like that, it just makes my day.
No, I agree.
Because I genuinely feel like, man, I got someone better, or and they also showed the gratitude behind that. 100%. Like they understand it, and that is why I think I do what I do, or why I like to do what I do, and you like to do what you do.
100%, man.
Right? And a big part of the thing I love about this too is just hearing stuff like that.
Right.
This is why I have fun sitting here, having some whiskey, and listening to your story. This is what it's all about for me.
No, I agree,
right?
Man.
And I think that's awesome, man. And now that you're with these guys in college, getting ready for the draft, is this a process too?
Yeah, so actually next week is the first, some guys have already started, but next week is really the first official week of pre-draft. So all the guys who declared for the NFL this year, next week will be the first week in most places that we getting rolling, man. We getting these guys prepared, working on skill drills, guys out there running the 40, all of the different change of direction drills, the bench, all those things. And so it's an exciting time. It can definitely be overwhelming for some guys.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I definitely try to, use my experiences to kind of help them through this, because it can be, man. It's long days. It's a lot of time you got to put in to prepare yourself, because it's really 8 to 10 weeks of.
Nick told me it was crazy.
It is.
It's
man.
a crazy month.
It is.
You're constantly traveling. You're doing this, all the workouts, man. 100%. He would say he was tired.
So Greg Russo is another one of my clients.
Oh man, that's all about the you right there.
All about the you, man. And so same thing. We had that conversation. His first year, he's a second year in the NFL now.
Yep.
His first year, I think he had 4 sacks. And we talked after the season. I was like, well, how do you feel this offseason compared to your rookie year? And he was like, bro, from combine prep to the NFL draft, he was a first round pick.
Right. I remember.
To mini camp, it can be very overwhelming.
Yeah.
And this second year, his off season, man, he actually started working in March, man. He got into it early. And it's showing, man. He's right now, like I said, he had 4 sacks last year. I think he's at 8.5.
He's
so
balling
far this year. Yeah,
he's balling. Representing for the U, of course.
100%, man. Him pairing up with Von Miller was a blessing as well, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
To be able to learn,
that's a good mentor.
100%, man. It really can't get no better in today's NFL to work with Von.
And someone that's here in this room. Yeah. Shout out to my brother right there.
Yes, sir.
Had brought up a good point about how I know how important Chubb was to Nick.
Right.
Having someone like that can mentor you and something like that, and they leave the team as a rookie. That's kind of like, man, like that was the guy that was taking me under his wing. And
that's real, yeah.
Yeah, and that's similar to the Von Miller situation.
Yeah, and it's important, man, because you want to have somebody to talk you through these things because you want to cut down that learning curve.
Yeah.
Because if you got to learn everything through experience, it'll take you a long time.
Yeah.
Man. So you definitely want those good guys, and that's definitely a key. A lot of guys who are successful early in their career, they have somebody who's able to mentor them, and they're a mentee to learn the ins and outs. Man.
Yeah, and it definitely minimizes the learning curve.
Definitely.
Especially when you're learning from someone like Chubb or Miller, like 100%. Guys that are great in the trenches. 100%. Those guys are key guys to learn from. If anything, that's what is it, like the best education you can have when you're a rookie.
Right. I agree.
Not everybody got those advantages.
No, definitely not.
So, does the process for the draft, is it different in terms of like, are you changing the process based on round?
No.
Or is it all pretty much similar?
Yeah, it's all the same thing. It's all the same thing. Like I said, we working for. So we do work some pass rush stuff throughout this process. Not much, because for the NFL Combine, it's the biggest job interview most of these guys are ever going to get.
Yeah.
And so it's real detailed. Like I said, when we talk about pass rush, the 40-yard dash means absolutely nothing. But in respect to testing, it does mean a lot, because obviously the faster you are, the better shot you got, the higher you get drafted. But essentially when it comes to being a successful as a pass rusher, running a 40 doesn't mean much at all, because we work in a small space, 5x6 space. Like I know you probably heard the term before, like being able to work in a phone booth. If we can do a lot of things in small spaces, we can be successful. So a 40 doesn't really dictate how good somebody can be, but in respect to combine prep and testing, it does mean a lot. So at this time of the year, like I said, we're doing a lot of working 10-yard splits, running 40s, L drill, cone drills. We do have a portion where we're working the on-field, the skill drills. So they do different for the defensive linemen and linebackers. They go through different bag drills and auxiliary drills that they do.
Yeah.
So we definitely go through all of those things, and those drills are good because it kind of showcases movement. Because the 40 is just running fast in a straight line. You see what I'm saying? But the skill drills, the on-field drills, they have changed them over the years, and they are more skill specific. I personally think moving forward in the combine, they should be doing one-on-ones. Like, how do you know you want to draft somebody if you've never physically seen them outside of college?
Right.
Go up against somebody. So I think that in NFL draft, when it comes to receivers, there should be quarterback, receiver, DB. They should be running routes one-on-ones versus each other.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure that would change a lot of draft grades on where guys get drafted, because, like I said, some guys don't test well. AB, I think Antonio Brown maybe ran like a 4.5 in the 40. That's not blazing fast, but dude's a Hall of Famer.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? He put in the work. So, the testing.
That's where the steals come in.
100%, man. So it doesn't really dictate how good you can be, but in respect to the testing, it does mean a lot. So like I said, it can be a real, overwhelming and strenuous process because it's long days. Like I said, we going from maybe 8 a.m. to about 3 or 4. You got recovery. You got your nutrition, meal prepping. You're working out maybe twice a day on the field, then in the weight room. But it's cool, though, because a lot of these guys get a chance to change their body, in 2.5 months. And, it's an exciting process.
Do you feel like the technique and fundamental gets overlooked because of all the potential?
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
Right.
Now, depending on who you're talking to, they may have something different to say. But if you ask me personally, it does. Because, like I said, a lot of people really just focus on how fast you are in the 40. And like I said, that doesn't dictate how good you are as a football player. So it does get overlooked. So that's why I'm hoping, in the future, as they continue to expand, that they do have a lot of more skill drills and one-on-ones, man. Like I said, I would love to see.
Is there enough time for it?
Yeah. There's
With
time,
all that madness going on?
But they got to cut back. They got to scale back on some of the things that they do. You see what I'm saying? Some of the things aren't as necessary. Like I said, if guys had the opportunity to go one-on-one versus somebody in the combine, that would literally change draft stock. You see what I'm saying? Some guys will go much higher. Some guys will drop a lot further. So will it ever happen? I don't know, but that's something I would love to see.
Hey, NFL, you heard it here first, man.
Hey, Definitely, man.
If they do add it, they gotta, it was here first, and they gotta give you the credit.
Got to bring us on, man. Got to.
So now, once the draft, once one of your clients have been drafted,
right?
Now you're going into basically preparing how this team wants to utilize them. Are you talking to the coaches from these teams to kind of gather that kind of information, or is there any coexisting between you and the teams for the benefit of the player? Are you guys working together?
Yeah, no, definitely. So I've had the opportunity to work with a handful of teams in a consulting role.
Okay.
So they'll bring me in to teach pass rush. I've actually worked with a couple different universities, colleges as well.
Okay.
Where I'm teaching some of the coaches and the players. But no, definitely, I like to do as much homework as I can.
Yeah.
Because I want to give my guys the best opportunity. So there is a standard. There's a checklist, I would say, that we do work on that everybody goes through. But definitely, depending on the system that a guy's playing in, we definitely do kind of want to tailor those things, especially if we're doing like a private session.
Right.
I do a lot of groups, but when we get private, when we do private one-on-ones, it's definitely, that plan is tailored to exactly who this guy is, what he can do to be successful in this scheme.
Yeah. And sure. we had when we had Andrew on here, he was saying basically he likes to talk, like when the player comes to him to talk about what they need to work on, he basically listens to what that player wants to work on. Right. He now talks to the coaches that primarily work with that player on that team, and then he has his own idea, and then he tries to form that into one plan for the player. Yeah. Because the player wants one thing, coach wants another thing based on how they use them. Player wants to get better at something else, and then he thinks, okay, well, this is what I think. So it's good to see that you have that patted down too, as far as, and I think football is as much mental as it is.
Oh man, it's probably 90%. I say probably 80 to 90% mental, man, and the guys who understand that, because to make it to the NFL, you gotta have talent, you gotta be skilled. So a lot of those guys are physically on the same level, but what separates them is the guys who put in the extra work, who watch the film, who are studying, they understanding the plays, and that's what really separates those guys. That's
another point Nick was making when he was here too. Is he realized in training camp, just because a guy might not be as fast as another, a safety or a cornerback might not be as fast as another one, but he was like, if that guy understands the play, the scheme, the whole 100%. Thing, he could be just as fast because he knows right where he has to be at the right time.
100%.
So he was, it's talent will get you there, but it won't keep you there.
100%. And that's the thing about defense. Defense is about knowing where to be. 100%. You see what I'm saying? If you're fast and strong, that's a plus. But if you're a student of the game, you understand the base of the defense, you can be successful, man. So I'm
trying to remember what game I saw this weekend that the announcer had said that, he knew it was coming. Right. It was a defensive player, and I can't remember what game it was. It might have been the Vikings game, to be honest with you. But he was because I only really watched the Giants or UM. So or the Broncos now.
Gotcha.
So I can't remember which game it was, but I remember the announcer saying something like, he read exactly what was going to happen. He knew it was going to happen right before. Boom, got there, beat him to the spot, played dead. So that lets you know how much studying goes into this. I saw a cool story too with Peyton Manning. I think Bill Belichick and these guys. I'm some NFL Network. Okay. And it was basically talking about Ed Reed. Okay. How Peyton Manning said he never had someone outstudy him until a situation happened with Ed Reed. That Ed Reed had known that every time he faked one way, he knew he was going the other way. It was like a double clutch. Right. And he had studied that on film. Yeah. And Peyton, boom, boom, he said that he knew that. Right. Man, did it. Ed Reed read it. He said, no, you're not getting me. No, I already know that's coming.
And like I said, that literally gives guys, it's a cheat sheet. So that's one of the service I offer as well. So we create a pregame pass rush plan. Okay. So, for example, like you said, we talked about Nick. So going to their first game of the season that he was playing, I went back and watched film on his opponent. So I watched maybe 2 or 3 games, and I'm looking for all tendencies. I'm looking for every single thing. That's one thing that I know is Lamar Jackson. He likes to wipe his hand on his towel every single time before he throws the ball. If he does not wipe his hand on the towel, it's a run play. I promise you, I've seen it 1,000 times. So those are the things we're looking for, man. I want to understand tendencies, how these guys are blocking you, what is the quarterback doing, how are they giving signals. But I want to give my guys the best opportunity every single play. So based off of those tendencies, we create the pregame pass rush plan. So like I said, I go back and watch the film, maybe 2 or 3 different games. I'm looking for how the offensive linemen are setting on you, what kind of stance that they're in. Are they heavy in their stance? Are they light in their stance? And then from there, I'll meet with the athlete. So I'll watch the film previously. Then I'll meet with the athlete, and then we'll watch maybe a game, I'll have all the cut-ups. We'll sit there and watch the game, and I want to show him the tendencies that we're talking about.
Yeah.
And then from there, we create a pregame pass rush plan with moves. So now we understand the tendencies. These are the moves that are going to work for you to be successful based off of what they're giving you. You see what I'm saying? And that's one of the things that pass rush, a lot of guys get stubborn. You see what I'm saying? They're good at one thing, and they only want to do that one thing.
Yeah.
Now, granted, if it's working, if it's not broken, don't change it. If you whipping a guy's ass in one move, you continue to do that shit all day. But a lot of the times, you have to adjust. And some guys, they can be very stubborn in their rush, and they don't want to change up what they're doing. And that's where there's kind of fundamental disconnect. But like I said, doing your homework early, creating a plan, understanding what they're doing, how they're trying to block you, and understanding what moves are going to make you be successful, man, that's where it's at. All of the greats.
Man,
all of the greats.
It sounds like you can't lose with you you can't lose with you, man. Hey, you got it all panned out.
My guys like to say, if you want to get sacks, Sack Sensei is the place to be,
Sack Sensei is the place to be.
Definitely, man.
And this is the time to give a shout out for the people that want to get in contact with you or just figure out how to because you said you don't want everybody,
right? 100%.
Right. So what does it take? What are these credentials that we're going with?
Well, like I mentioned earlier, you got to be able to afford it. That's first and foremost.
That's key.
Got to be able to have
That's
that
key.
money.
Can't forget that one. Let's start there. Top of the line, money.
Can't do it. I got 2 kids. And they got to be fed as well, man.
Exactly.
So, I pride myself on
keeping the wife happy.
100%, man. Definitely. But like I said, first and foremost, you got to want to work. You got to want to work, and I don't like the guys who think they know it all.
Without giving any names, have you ever cut somebody off because they weren't working?
100%.
But they were doing everything else, but not working hard
on
enough?
Every level, bro.
Yeah.
NFL, college, high school. There's plenty of guys that I asked not to come back. I think moving forward, we both can, find better opportunities for each other. You see what I'm saying? But no, definitely, man. Like I said, it's about the consistency.
Agreed.
And getting the reps, man. So if you're consistent, you want to be done, and that's the thing. You got to want to be great. You see what I'm saying? Some guys, and especially when it comes to NFL, some guys are just happy to be there. You see what I'm saying? And to each his own. I'm not here to judge anybody. At the end of the day, you getting a check. Football is a game. That you have a privilege to play 100%. Yeah. So some people use it to feed their families. Some people want to put on a yellow jacket.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, if investing in yourself is something that you're interested in doing, putting in the work, being consistent, being open to learn, putting in the hours, man, those are the guys that I want. So, for anybody watching this podcast, man, if that's something that you're interested in and something that you want for yourself, on Instagram, you can reach me at Sack Sensei. I have a website, sacksensei.com. I'm on Twitter. I'm pretty much every platform, man. So you type in Sack Sensei on Google, you'll be able to find me. So I'm based out of the South Florida area, located in Davie. Shout out to my man, Nick Hicks, man. Nick Hicks is one of my close friends. He actually owns the facility that I'm training out of.
Okay. And
they're just opening up a new space, new gym, huge, nice turf.
Same area, different area?
Same area. Plaza.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it's called Perform.
Perform,
Perform, man. So they love to say, don't just play, come perform. So shout out to my man, Nick. He's a great partner of mine. We've been working together, and I'm excited for some things that we're putting together moving forward, man. So it's been a great year. I'm excited.
And who are you excited for? Anybody that you're working with right now in college for the NFL draft? Any first rounders that you second round? It don't matter what it is, but are you excited for anyone that you think that maybe is even not being talked about enough to for the next level that deserves that?
I got a kid who just reached out to me. I haven't trained him yet.
Okay.
But his name is Dennis. He came out of Liberty this year.
Okay.
He was a true nose guard, played the zero technique, head up over the center. He was very productive this year. He had 6.5 sacks as an interior defensive lineman, which is great. That's a great number. He made a lot of because to be a defensive lineman, there's a culture that's built. And anybody who understands the culture, we don't care about pressures.
Yeah.
They do count pressures in the NFL and college. But for anybody who's a true defensive lineman, the culture is pressures aren't good enough. You got to get home. Got to get sacks. That's the only thing that matters. We don't count pressures as being successful. So Dennis is a kid that I'm excited to see go through this process because he was real productive. We just started communicating a couple weeks ago. I'm excited to get in the lab with him and do some training. He's actually playing in the Tropical Bowl coming up in January. So I'm excited to see him go through this process. But I pretty much approach everybody the same way, because everybody, like I say, it's a culture, and I treat all these guys like they're part of my family. Mm-hmm. Some of these guys come in there and then, they're playing with my kids, and they're helping my kids out, whether it's with homework, teaching them, little drills, and my son is only 7 now, but he'll definitely go through the same process. So these guys are family to me. We consider ourselves the mob, man. So there's mob ties, and so I kind of approach everybody the same way. But next year, in the draft next year, one of the kids I've been working with for about 5 or 6 years now, Dallas Turner. is one of my guys, man.
From Alabama, right?
Alabama,
yeah.
man.
I've been reading a lot about him. Yeah,
I'm really excited for Dallas, man. He had a great year this year.
Yep.
The numbers weren't as productive as last year, but he's so much better on film. I mean, it's kind of hard to top 8.5 sacks as a freshman.
Yeah.
So he killed as a freshman.
Yeah, 8.5 as a freshman.
Yeah, man. He killed, bro. And this year he was very productive, made a lot of plays, and going into his junior year, not a Will Anderson is going to the draft this year. He's the guy, man. So I'm excited for Dallas going into next year, and I'm putting it on wax right now. Dallas Turner will run a 4.3 in the combine. As a defense end, he will run a 4.3. He's explosive, electric.
This definitely gonna be a real now.
No, definitely. Dallas Turner will run a 4.3.
This definitely gonna be one of the reals.
Hey,
right
I'm putting
now.
it on wax, man. I'm putting it on wax. So I'm excited for that, man. Like, so we got another 365 days, but I'm being patient, and I'm excited to see him grow and really step into who he's gonna be over his junior year. So I'm excited.
And now that you were talking about Dennis from Liberty, how much more? I know I've watched Ocho Cinco on the podcast, and he's talked about how if he was in high school right now, it doesn't matter where he went, right? The way the game is built, how many scouts, all this video, you can be seen anywhere.
Yeah, you can.
Right, but the one thing we do understand, and I think that primarily for the skill set, like Dion has said too. The difference between the Power Fives and us is the trenches. The offensive line and defensive line. The skill positions we can fill.
You can find them anywhere.
You can find them, right? So we're saying now, like someone like Ocho saying that. How much do you think these guys have to work? Because you're not playing against, if you're not in the SEC, you're not playing against Ole Miss, Alabama, Georgia. How much more do you think these guys have to prove that chip? Like, hey, if I was there, I could play too. This is why you should draft me. This is why you should take that chance.
I mean, the guys who are at smaller schools, let's say, let's say not Bama, not Power 5,
right, not
maybe like
P5.
a Utah State or North Texas. Those guys, the guys who put up the numbers, they show it. You see what I'm saying? And the numbers speak for themselves. So I think it's kind of a misconception with the conference that you play in, because like we talked earlier, if you're great, they're gonna find you from anywhere. But the guys who put up the numbers who are not at the big schools, those are guys I like. Those are the guys because they do have a chip on their shoulder.
Yeah.
They do. And like I said, I was that guy. I felt like I should have been at Georgia. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And, I played at smaller schools, came out of high school, had an offer from FIU, where Cristobal was there. That was his last year there, that year with T.Y. Hilton and those guys. Yep. So, but I felt like I was just so much better than that, man. So I played with that chip, and those guys who are, in this process now, it speaks for itself. It 100% does, man. And those are guys they put in the hours.
Yeah.
So you continue to log in those hours, that mama mentality, because it all adds up, man. And just to go back to one of the points you made earlier about one of the prerequisites to work with, Sack Sensei, SSTA, Sack Sensei's training approach. Bro, we've been working for about a month now. So I got high school kids that literally the weekend after their season, they're getting back to it.
Yeah.
Because I really pride myself in teaching these guys. It's literally about the hours you put in. And you want to mess up in December, January, February. So come August, you out there rolling, man. So
no, and if you're working like a pro since high school,
100%.
It becomes easy by the time you get there.
And that's why I definitely try to build my guys up for that. And even for the ones who don't have an opportunity to play professional, it's just life skills, man.
Yeah.
Being proactive, putting in the work, understanding that you can achieve whatever you want. You just got to work for it.
And I think that those high school kids will understand. I mean, you're working with pros all the time,
right.
So they know that hey, this is how pros approach this.
100%.
Why would I expect anything less from you? If you want to be a pro, this is how you have to approach it too.
Only one way to do it, man.
Only one way to do it.
Put in the work.
I agree, man. And I thank you for coming on, telling your story, how you approach this thing, how you I learned a lot. I don't follow football that much. So when I watch it, I don't know what the hell's going on schematic.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean? So people say, oh, he's supposed to be, man, listen. Throw the ball incomplete, not complete, cool. We keep it moving for me, right? But when I'm watching basketball, very intricate on the offense they're running, defense, style, schemes. It's very different for me because that's my field. That's so sitting here learning from you, and specifically in one certain position, it's a lot. I took it a lot and I learned a lot. And we hope everybody out there did learn a lot. You know how to communicate. Now you know what it takes, though. It's not cheap.
No, it's not cheap.
It ain't cheap. So you know what the criteria is to get with the Sack Sensei. And I appreciate everybody here for tuning in. Flavor in your ear.
Yes, sir, man. I appreciate you having me. And, this is big, man, because I actually, envision myself doing this.
Oh, man. I'm looking forward to that.
I go to sleep at night, and I literally envision myself. So, coincidentally, I've reached out to a lot of people. I reached out to the Pivot. reach out to Brandon Marshall and those guys because I just want to be on a platform to continue to tell my story.
Of course.
To be able to inspire and motivate kids.
Yeah.
And not even just kids, but anybody.
Yeah.
So, again, man, I appreciate you for bringing me on and us getting a chance to do this.
Listen, I'm glad you got to do it here first.
For sure.
And that means a lot to me because that's what that's all I really want to provide, a place for people to tell what they do, how they did it. Right. And, one of the main models that I have here is that people always see the success story, but never the journey.
100%.
Right. So when you go on your Instagram, you see all these NFL players you work with but they don't know the journey that you took to get there and the work, man.
You hit it on the head, man. I've had so many people tell me, so I rebranded myself about 4 years ago. So previously I worked with another company. We're a little more less skill specific. We did a little more of everything: strength and conditioning, speed and agility. And people will tell me, how did you do this so fast? How did you blow up? But man, I've been doing this for 10 years. I just didn't get paid for the first 6.
Exactly.
You see what I'm saying, man?
Well, see, and that's one thing that Andrew said. Yeah. He was like, man, I was training 6-7 years before 100%. I started touching NBA players, 100%. And then now, I got a whole whole roster. Yeah. But it's like people only see that. They hop on it. Social media makes things so fast, and they don't see what goes on behind the scenes. Long nights. The hours that you put in watching the film to break down with these athletes, right. Because you're not just like, hey, show up to the gym, we're gonna do these drills. No, it's a whole complete package.
100%, man.
And to sit there and watch film, break everything down, like you said, even the little things, the little intricacy things, like towel wiping. Yep. We know it's a pass. 100%. Things like that. That takes there's a lot to be said about that. A lot of time and effort. So
it is, man.
I definitely that's what we want here. We want to show to people like, hey. To be Sack Sensei, it ain't easy.
No.
And what would you say? 6 years before you free?
Yeah, man. Yeah, about 6 years. I started off at the parks.
Yeah,
training kids for free. And at the time I had children myself, and I used to always question myself, like, man, I'm out here training these other kids for free.
Yeah,
and my kids ain't getting fed. You know what I'm saying? So I coached high school for a while.
That's why they cheap now.
No, 100%, man.
Because now they really eating.
100%, man. So yeah, I went through all of those emotions, but I definitely am thankful for all of it, man, because it makes me who I am today.
And hard work pays off.
100%. And like you said, the biggest thing that I want people to understand is you can be Sack Sensei. You can be whatever it is that you want to do.
That's what we want.
As long as you're putting the time and effort and energy, you have faith, you continue to be disciplined in your approach, because that's a lot of things. A lot of things that we as people, you got to be prepared, and you have to be obedient to the opportunity. And a lot of times people get opportunities, but they're not ready for it. You see what I'm saying? So, I definitely pride myself on just being diligent, being obedient to the opportunity, man, working, being faithful. Yeah. Because, I'm the first person to say I wouldn't be here without God, man. God put me in this position to be able to give back. And, so my goal is just carry his mission out, man. So definitely.
And there's something that's always to be consistent with the Bible or anyone that shares their testimony about, their faith is God always puts you on a journey before he gives you the glory.
100%.
Right? 100%. So that 6-year journey turned out to be glory.
100%. Yeah. I would do it 10 times over. Just be where I am today, I'd do it 10 times over, man.
I mean, I would too if I'm in your position.
Yeah, man.
I would have too. But what? And that, again, we're going to reemphasize that point. That's why we do this. And we want, and you nailed it on the head. You can be Sack Sensei. You just have to be able to put in the work and understand that there's a long journey ahead to get to this point.
100%.
It's not easy to work with the people that you work with.
100%, man.
It takes a lot. And on top of that, for those people to also acknowledge that you're good at what you do, right? Because these pros can work with anybody.
100%.
But if they're working with you, it's because they understand, like, hey, there's a plan, there's a regiment. Like you said, diligent, on time, punctual. Yeah. When you come here, you know what you're getting, and there's a lot of respect behind that.
No, 100%.
So essentially, your business is also a reference business.
No, I agree.
One guy works with one guy. Hey, when I worked with him,
100%. And when it comes to marketing, there's no better marketing than word of mouth. There's no better than that, man. So I definitely appreciate everybody who's always pushed my name. Whether it's on a high school, professional level, I appreciate everybody to this day, man. Because again, I wouldn't be here without that.
Yeah,
100%, man. So,
Sack Sensei, I appreciate you for being here, man. Maybe when I get my foot right, I'll hop over there and
no, definitely
and see what it's like to be in the trenches.
No, definitely, man. It is definitely a lot of blood and sweat. You see what I'm saying? But we get after it and
just leave my foot.
Yeah.
We can't touch that.
No, you can't touch the foot. You can't touch the foot. But you can work some hands though. You ain't got to run, but we can definitely work some hands.
We can work some hand moves.
Some hand moves.
All right,
yeah, man. Yes, sir.
So I appreciate you, man. Thank you for everybody tuning in. If you have any, all his information will be in the description box below. So we'll have his Instagram, his website. If you want to get if he inspired you, if you want to ask him any questions, if you want to train with him, no, you got to come with the bag though.
Got to.
If you have any questions for him, maybe on, maybe how he went about it, his whole journey, some mentorship. Maybe you want to train somebody. Maybe you want to know how to go about it. I'm sure he would love to connect, DM him, and send him a message, and I'm sure he would love to put some input on that. All right. Thank you guys for tuning in, Flavor in your ear. By the time you guys be seeing this, 2023 kicked in, man. So I wish everybody the best.
Yes, sir. Happy New Year.
Likewise.